Hello, I'm Steve Monkey Mason. Now I am back with talking Paul Ray in the background and Carl as well, Lubo Carl. So Paul and his Ray, he's getting all his facts down, his figures. We nearly had a disaster tonight. I nearly deleted the Robin Hood podcast. 2 hours 56 minutes. Nearly got erased from existence, but I've saved it, so it's fine. Today we are doing Daylight, starring Sylvester Stallone. And are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Right, what are you watching on? Because I've got it on Blu-ray and it's got the play button. It's a Universal, so...
Blu-ray.
Right, so...
No TV.
3, 2, 1. I would probably hold if I was you, Paul, because it was no TV, like. Because I'm probably going to get a warning. No, Universal is just appeared. It's an old school one.
Straight away. I was going to say it's proper old.
Proper old school.
Can we make it water?
Yeah, and it pans off to the top. Fucking love that. Now, I got called today on my podcast comments, I got called, not used to, me, the word that begins with F and ends with T. You, I was waiting for the film to start. How dare you? Like, it's a podcast commentary, so there was no need to call us the F word. So, yeah. So, Rob Conan...
Never any need to call someone an F word.
Well, it's F when it ends with a T, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it on there. Golf clap, well done, mate. Right, so this is Daylight. So this is originally meant to be Cliffhanger 2.
Yeah.
Rob Conan, who would obviously produce Running Man Carl, that we've done the other day, and notoriously went on to direct Fast and the Furious a couple of years after this with Universal, you know. But Stallone's not known for working with Universal, is he?
Not really, no. I forgot Viggo Mortensen was in this.
Very early. Well, there's quite a few people in this. 90s disasters, though. I mean, this is like... I love the front cover of Daylight. I absolutely fucking love it. I think the new DVD cover is shocking when it's just Stallone's face all startled, like, like, what the fuck is... It's in Welcome to the Land of the Long White Cloud. Stage Stallone's in it as well. So, yeah, I love the front cover. I absolutely adore it. I've got it on DVD. I think I've got it on Laserdisc as well. It's something about that era as well, because it's very similar to Drop Zone. So there's a lot of disaster movies in the 90s. So what was this, 96?
Yeah, 96.
So what else were around then? Dante's Peak? Volcano. Armageddon, later on. Sorry, my chair. This new chair is just... It's been disastrous. There's the Decepticons there, getting ready to merge. I like the score of this. It tweakles away.
There's a score of this. I forgot who does it now. But yeah, it is a good score. Oh, that's it. I'm sure it's Randy Edelman, who also did Batman Forever. Yep, Randy Edelman. Yeah. Oh my god, it's really good that.
So you might see it.
I remember reading about this. The funny thing about Stallone apparently claiming that this was going to be his last action film, given that he started to think that he was getting a bit too old. You know, and the irony, since he followed up with Rocky Balboa and Rambo, and then of course all the Expendables.
I mean, this is... Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
It's such a great tunnel, isn't it?
Well, it's all a set design, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. They did it in was it Raw? They just built it like a full set to just make it a lot cheaper in America.
I mean, there was other disaster movies, sort of like Money Train, and you know, people like throwing all these scenarios around that time as well. This guy was just recently in an X-Files episode, one of the later seasons.
I think you're going to be seeing that for a long time, maybe. X-Files is just such an iconic thing that, you know, everything you watch in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to be like, oh, I'm sure he was in X-Files. You mentioned Robin Hood, you went, oh yeah, Robin Hood was in X-Files.
Ah, I see. Yeah, so there's a lot of build-up to this. It really builds. I mean, I have memories of going into like the cinema, maybe it's around about like Batman Forever, and like Daylight's such a captivating, like Daylight, zooming orange, black, Stallone, two people in a tunnel. Specialist was the year before and stuff like that, wasn't it? So it's quite a big movie, like.
It didn't do that well, though.
No, it didn't.
Damn.
I don't think as well New York really still likes disaster movies. I mean, this is one of the very fair few movies set with disaster within New York. Of course, it's pre 9/11 and stuff like that. But again, what I think it shows you a very wide range of people who are all living like the lives and all end up to certain points to be in the tunnel, but then all get together, especially the lady here, because she's had enough, she's about to leave, but then she, eventually becomes like the heroine of the movie, like who wants to survive, and like, and I think that's what's really good. Independence Day, there's another disaster movie, Aliens, and Godzilla.
Yep. New York's full of it, isn't it? It's always New York. Mason, did you just actually acknowledge the 1996 Godzilla?
Yes, got you.
Look, that's Apple. That's company.
Act 2.
That's wonderful technology. Obviously, oh my god, I love watching films like this full of technology at the time. Like, yeah. Can you imagine if she had a mobile phone? No. Filming it.
Dictating. Act 2. Lights up.
Ugh. Watches everywhere.
Now, didn't Stallone make Get Carter after this, and that flopped?
It flopped, but he got really good reviews for it, didn't he?
But he started to go well. I mean, I've got one called Avenging Annalito or something like that. That's a fucking quickie one.
Yeah. Starting to finish it.
Good, the good old coming home to your answer machine.
Oh my god, there's rats and bugs and kept out of it. I mean, I bought the cockroaches late, but I wait.
The rat and the unit. I mean, that's enough. Like,
if they kept that, you wouldn't have. I mean, stuff. Just and shit.
I like it how they've made them barrels the fucking yellowest possible.
Yeah. It's the ones on the back of Orca. Oh my god! I just made it. I had this on HD DVD when it first came out. I think it was like $24.99.
It's a fucking.
For an HD DVD.
You don't see it that often now on Blu-ray. It's a stripped down Blu-ray. There's no extras. It comes with a typical Universal like play button and that down the side. So.
It's on deep, like a bookmark and.
Yeah.
Just kind of the idea they have like a grade in like Egyptology to to see which button you're going to press. Yeah, here he is, Return of the King. But I'm more saying about like menus and how people don't do it anymore and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously, stand corrected when you think of Son of the Hedgehog.
Well, it's someone that gives me copy. You know what I mean?
What? Well, what I thought I'd do, and I thought I'd wait, and I'd make it as long as it took for you to get me Doctor Sleep, if that's alright, and then just levels it out.
Mate, that was lockdown. That wasn't me.
No, just relying on HMV delivery service, miss. No, I'll go on record. I was no hurry whatsoever.
To get more characters. To be honest, personally, I know this is just going to be a questionable thing, like, but I don't see any point of having a dog or a cat in New York, in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like cruel. It's just not like the environment. He's dragging the poor thing by the neck.
You're ahead of us.
So I'm in the same frame as Paul Ray in this scenario.
Well, the guy's just appeared in the back of the bus for me.
Yeah.
Panning.
Yeah.
Girl just looked to the left. There's Stage Stallone. Alright.
Still, I am probably like a second ahead of you, Mason.
He died though, didn't he?
Yeah. Overdose, I think.
doesn't look anything like.
That seemed to be the thing in Hollywood at that time. You never really hear about why they just always class it as an overdose.
So it's 10 minutes into the film, and you're only just going to be, which is, isn't it? Because you put it straight away.
Paul, you're very crackly, matey.
You do.
Well, stop shouting to me. I didn't do it.
You do. What am I supposed to do?
I think the fact that, like, when you're watching these older films, and obviously it's scanning through all these different people in the different lives, it's weird because you can't help but watch it now and go, if you're watching this for the first time, you have no idea who these people are. But now, every single person, you're going to recognise them for something else, and you're going to say, well, okay, that person's going to do something. You know,
well, that's it.
It's a bus full of people, and you've got two main characters that you've seen in other films. You think, well, they're clearly going to be something of an importance.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's building them all, and it's just like setting them up. You know what I mean? Now, all three of these guys are all famous because that's Danielle Harris in the back, who's obviously from Halloween. She's the little girl, and then she's in the remakes as well.
Yeah.
Camp going.
Do.
Now, what do you think of the potential of Nick Cage being originally the lead for this film?
See, thing is, right, Nick Cage was wanting to get away with stuff because obviously The Rock was the year after this, or about the same year.
96. I want to say The Rock was 97.
Yeah, I would say Nicolas Cage was trying to get into action. I mean, he had comedies and dramas, but he was a backable star by that point. But I don't think Nicolas Cage would have came off as so like the guy who goes down the fucking tubes and all that. I mean, I can see why Stallone was cast. But again, it's going back. I'm trying to think if Stallone's worked with Universal any much.
Well, from what I read, apparently it was Universal executives who felt that with Nick Cage you were going to get more of a character actor.
Yeah.
Whereas the sell for Stallone was the fact that he was commercially known. So they obviously went with Stallone because of his
they've went for Stallone in the disaster movies because there was a lot of everyone wanted their own disaster movie. So you slap Stallone's name on there, and then you're rocking really.
Yeah, true. Well, it worked because I would have picked this up purely based on the fact that I had Stallone in.
But I mean, Schwarzenegger never did a disaster movie, did he?
I don't know, like, he did some disasters.
Oh, look at the size of that viewfinder.
No, honestly, I'm thinking about it. I don't think he did he? No.
Any cameras at Mason, much as you. It's got a bright.
I mean, that to be honest with you, right, that battery wouldn't last half an hour. That light on in that fucking screen.
Yeah. I've got to feel like this is a nice Blu-ray.
Universal don't seem to tick around, like they seem to do alright with.
Yeah.
Now, would this get a 4K release?
I think it would, and I would think they would slap one from the director of Fast and the Furious on it now.
Yeah.
Oh god, I hate when they do that. I hate when it's an old film, but then they put like from a director of from a year ago. It's like, well, that's fine. Like that punk kid.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was just going to say that when they've re-brought it out with a cover, now it's just such a, like, again, when we talk about covers, what a disappointment. It's a beautiful cover, the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to comment on like the whole using people's names and that, because if you remember when Hostel first came out, all you ever remember of them saying is from Tarantino this and Tarantino that.
Yeah.
Like, you had very little involvement in that film altogether. It was just like really strange though, because Eli Roth was not an unknown really. He had done something, so it seemed a little bit like, I don't know. I feel like I would be like being a bit shady if I was Eli Roth. And well, why are you constantly pushing the Tarantino's name?
Well, Tarantino's name's all across Man with the Iron Fist as well, isn't it?
That's true, yeah.
looks really good in here.
The music's very like powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no man.
She's had enough,
I
like.
said, so obviously, like we say, like, New York's all and lovely, or get away from it. Like you're saying before, Mason's take on New York, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many people, you know what I mean. But like, it's kind of like you've got. I mean, they've got buildings that block out the fucking sun. They're that tall. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't have that over here. You walk down the middle of Newcastle. I mean, some of the buildings in Newcastle, I would say, are maybe 10% the size of some of them in Manhattan, mind.
Yeah. Now, didn't they use a lot of miniatures also in this?
Yeah.
Just about to say that. You just beat us to it. I was about to say this is all miniature, isn't it?
It's
This
miniature and, like, I mean, even these backdrafts. I mean, this is why it works as well.
Oh, that looks
it
good.
came in me of
That's a crisp, clear image, that looks.
Yeah,
Hey.
the bit in time, yeah. Wow. No, and obviously CGI. I mean, use a little bit of CGI.
Oh,
Just a
absolutely.
bit. Just an incy-wincy little bit.
I mean, it's a mixture of natural elements, you know. It's crashing stuff, you know. It's lightning. It's doing everything practical. Then coming along with, but Rob Conan directed Dragonheart before this, didn't he? So he was been really dibbling special effects for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I
So
love
this is what makes it so unique, though, is that I feel that's what films are losing out on now. It's the fact that they're going all CGI. Whereas, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can tell clear as day that some of these flames, in fact, all of these flames are pretty much CGI, but it's the fact that he's dabbling with the real effects and with other things that you can kind of sit there and go, no, that I believe it's actually happening. Whereas sometimes when you see some CGI, it's just like, your eyes just reject it. It's just like, I know for a fact none of that's real.
I mean, that's all miniature work and all that, you know what I mean? Some of them are actually massive sets as well. I mean, that's a huge fireball. Again, as well, Stallone, you know what I mean? We're knowing him from, like, Philadelphia or Rocky. And obviously, Philadelphia is, like, just a bit south from there. So it's not like, oh, he was in LA being a taxi driver, do you know what I mean? You try to fit him in there. You kind of, you relate to, like, oh, he could... I don't, like, again, it's the whole thing of, like, him being the ex-chief firefighter. And he just so happens to be a taxi driver in the biggest disaster in New York City's history. And he's the only guy you can save him. He just happens to be outside.
Obviously, Rob Cohen, obviously, dragged the Bruce Lee story. Really good film.
Yeah. And he's certainly in no way, shape or form bad, but you can also see that, like, Stallone got a lot of beef on here. I remember him saying how he was never as heavy as he was until he did Copland, which he actually did that after this. So I think you can tell straight away with Stallone. I mean, he's still a bulky bloke, like, but he's certainly not as lean as he was.
Now,
say Demolition.
The thing about
Man or something like that.
Well, you think about Copland, you know what I mean? He was going for a really strong performance, and like just that lineup alone, Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta back in a movie, but then you throw Harvey Keitel in there as well. Then there's like Robert Patrick and everyone's in it. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's a first-time director, you know.
Right.
Guy's first film he directed, and he obviously suffered because, like, when you listen to the commentary with that, he struggled trying to get Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel in the same scene together because they all wanted to go into the room first and stuff. So he had a lot of egos to manage, and I think that really damages the film. It shows through. Now this guy was in Bringing Out the Dead. He's also in Bad Boys.
Yeah. Would you move? Or down in right over the Les also did Donny all that.
Paul, you canny breaky.
Well, what do you mean to do?
that's be angry. It seems to work when you shout.
Well, I suppose. Tell you what. How's it?
How's what?
Hello. Hello. How's that?
Yeah.
Hello.
That's better. That's better.
So I have to hold the phone right to me gob for another 2 hours.
So don't lick the phone.
That's what's wrong with it.
Now, the thing is with Stallone's career right now, right, in this stage, I mean, when you consider he's coming off like Rocky, Cobra, Over the Top,
Judge
Rambo,
Dredd.
Lock Up, Tango and Cash, Rocky, obviously he gets a bit of a dip. It's strange because he goes from Rocky to something called Oscar, which I haven't heard of.
Have you never seen
TV
Oscar?
series.
Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park T-Rex.
Yeah. And I haven't heard that he did it between Rocky and Stop My Man Will Shoot. Stop My Man Will Shoot. He did a TV series which seemed a bit weird. You know, he seemed a bit like, I don't want to say big time, but like to go from like all them to a TV series. And then, what is it? We'll go Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, Judge Dredd, now we've got Daylight. But the thing is, this is where it gets interesting because you've got Copland, and then you've got the Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn.
Oh, yeah, with Jackie Chan. Yeah.
Never heard of that one. The Good Life, which I haven't heard of. And then he gets a voice role in Ants. Then we get Carter. Never seen Driven. That was interesting. I haven't seen that before.
Oh, I've got Driven. It's basically much Rocky on Formula 1, yeah.
Yeah. Now, and then this is where it's just like, I mean, you get another TV series, Liberty's Kids, Ested 1776, Avenging Angelo.
That's the one I was on about before on VHS, yeah.
Yeah. Shade, Spy Kids 3, plays the villain in that, The Toy Maker. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and
That's
then
a 3D one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that's when we get Rocky Balboa. So like, bang, he comes back with such a solid film. Then not long after that, we get Rambo.
But they were
Just
notoriously
like,
made
he
for the
fell
same
asleep a
year.
little bit.
But he wrote and directed and edited all them in the same year, didn't he?
Yeah, aye. I mean, it was all on his own back. Nobody wanted to touch him. So when you
See
think
what you
about
seen about before, Carl, about TV. These days now, TV would be ideal for him, wouldn't it?
oh,
I mean,
definitely.
So that's
Well,
what it is now.
Look at Carl Weathers. I mean, he was in Law and Order, was it? Law and Order? Or one of those types of Carl Weathers, you know, you got Apollo Creed.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into TV, absolutely smashing it. And then obviously he pops up in Mandalorian, which he's doing an awesome role in that.
Yeah,
Although,
what's
like I
going
say,
on here, lads? You. Oh, Stallone.
yeah, I got that. Yeah.
That's Drake there. That's Drake from Aliens. He's shouting at.
Right.
Get a better look at him.
Oh yeah.
I think he's also in Lethal Weapon, I think. And that's the lawyer in it from Adam's Family.
Yeah. But he's one of those. He's been in a lot. What else is he in? I'll have to have a look now.
He's one of them actors you go, oh yeah, it's him, but then what the fuck's his name?
He's in something that I can. It's on the tip of my tongue.
But that Burn Hollywood Burn, that was heavily trailered back in the era of VHS because Whoopi Goldberg, Sylvester Stallone, Jackie Chan. Obviously, Jackie Chan was really popular at the time because Rumble in the Bronx and I think Rush Hour hit. But it was all about Alan Smithy nicking the film and that, and there's like Coolio. But it was one of them, like people talking about a movie they'd never seen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So would you recommend it?
It was a weird concept for the time. I mean, just YouTube the trailer. I mean, that's how much I remember of the fucking film, like, so.
Yeah. Nah, it just seemed like one of those things that.
Because in the trailer, Jackie Chan's, I'm Jackie Chan, I cannot die. Like, so we all go down in frames. So you go together, I'm Jackie Chan, I cannot die. It's just the way the trailer's cut, it's really cool.
I gotta say, Carl and you guys, this film does look really good in HD. Like, I'm picking up loads of stuff from it. It looks really good.
It's crisp clear, like. I mean, like I say.
Boom, he's dead.
Something like this.
You gotta close it down, yeah. But yeah, it's a really good set, isn't it? You could never tell it was a proper set. They did a good job on it.
Again, though, if you went to somebody and went, "Oh, here's a disaster movie," and it's all predominantly going to be set inside the tunnel, you dig up the land, you fucking set dress it, you make it safe. You know, you get your fire marshals and shit in to make sure it's vented fine, and you're really rocking and rolling, really.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me a little bit. It's obviously different, like, but you know, the original Poseidon adventure of Gene Hackman and stuff like that, the original one.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that element with it. You know what I mean? Of survivors grouping together to get out of a situation. I know it's a complete different kind of take on it, but it's kind of it kind of reminds me of that 1970s.
It's got that Poseidon Adventures kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
you know, like you got all these, like you say, you got all these people who are gathering together to try and survive.
Well, it's like the Titanic, how the Titanic works at the start. You get these glimpses and images of people, like, you don't really pay attention, but if you watch it again, you go, "Oh, there he is," and then you see them. They've got like a characteristic that they're sort of, especially the ones who, like, to be honest with you, the ones that survive. You see that obviously the lass who, obviously, has had enough. She's not borderline suicidal, but she's wanting to make a change, but she's willing to sacrifice herself. Yeah. But then you got people in this instance that are, for example, Vigo gets killed soon, but he gets killed because, you know, he's too eager. But again, it's part of his characteristic. It's like there's always a downfall for somebody to die in a disaster movie. But these days, the new formula is shock value. The person you don't like, they're not the cliche person, "Oh, he's going to survive," because then they suddenly just get the most painfulest death possible, and you think, and that's just, to me, I think that's something that the disaster movies don't do right these days. Like, these people, it's right, you watch a movie back, he's going to live, he's going to die, and you can see why. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it works for the character, doesn't it? If it makes sense for the character, like now, he's cocky, he thinks he knows it all, and this is going to cost him.
Exactly, yeah. But like, it's like, if you watched a new movie now, the cliches now, they're like, they'd say it's more realistic, and yes, life holds no prisoners and stuff like this, you know what I mean? But like, that's the kind of, like, when you watch movies now, it's just like, whoa, like, wasn't expecting that. And that's what they go for. They go for that shock death.
Yeah, definitely.
No, sorry, the dog's okay.
I was going to say, I mean, the dog's always okay.
Yeah. Like the dog in Independence Day in a tunnel. Boomer!
Tell you what I'm watching at the moment, which is so eerie and it's done quite well, is The Outsider. Ben Mendelsohn, based on a Stephen King novel. Right. Really, really good. Basically like a shapeshifter. So these people are being done for murder. Jason Bateman is actually directing it. He stars in it as well, but he's directed all the episodes. Yeah.
That's another thing when actors get to the point where, like, the you know what I mean, the sense of turning, but obviously the priorities change as well, because some for example, Alex Winter, people's like, "Fucking hell, Alex Winter's still alive," and they're like, "Well, but he's been directing loads of movies, and he's like, "Yeah, I've like directed Ice Cube's music video, and I've done documentaries about Frank Zappa," and everyone thinks he's done fuck all since the last Bill and Ted movie.
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't seen him for years, and then it wasn't until I saw a video online when he was basically trying to get people to back the Frank Zappa thing, where he was trying to unlock the votes.
Yeah.
I saw that big promo of him trying to like get people on board, and I'll be honest with you, I hadn't really heard of him since pretty much Bill and Ted.
No, he's a really nice guy.
I knew he was alive though.
He's done a lot of film work, like, but again, he does some of the cons. How I met him, just for like Lost Boys and Bill and Ted. And at the end of the day, you do one of them, like, you don't overexpose yourself. Do you know what I mean? You do one where every couple of years, and you do like 6 tours. You can make some fucking serious cash, man.
So, well, obviously, clearly, I mean, I don't know. I'm only basing off the footage what you had made, but I probably did what I think everyone would do, is when you think of Alex Winters now, even in Lost Boys, he's like giddy and he's a bit like wired up. And obviously when you think of his character as Bill in Bill and Ted, he's such a live character, whereas the footage that you had kind of made him look a little bit like a little bit somber. He didn't look like he was really wanting to be there. That's just what I got from the footage. I don't know how you felt when you met him. Was he?
Well, when I met him, it was to be honest. When I met him, he had just been on stage, like he had been bombarded. The person there before us was there for ages, and I was just talking about Freaked and all that. But again, I think like, I think it's you just take a lot of it in. I mean, again, Lost Boys reunited. You know what I mean? But he was a real nice guy. I mean, let's say out of all of them though, he was a bit of a reclusive. You know what I mean? But I think I don't like a lot of them just got in on the morn. A lot of them are like jet lagged or fucking stuff. You know what I mean? Especially when you do a flyby.
Well, that's it. I mean, I know a lot of it was planned in advance in terms of.
Well, he wasn't, mate.
But it wasn't really, was it? I mean,
no, he was one of the.
Sitting there doing the master plan that the Lost Boys reunion was going to be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch, I think if you watch whatever the video that footage was released on, I predicted it was Alex Winter, and I think it was like one of the Buskers nights, but it was like it was one of the last announcements. So I think Chance was the last one, but even Chance was like, when I met Chance, he was like, "Oh shit, I've literally got to go to the airport." I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to fucking stand." But they're all like, I wouldn't have a problem. Like even when I had the picture taken, funny enough, that I'm standing next to them in the picture, they're all just like dead canny, but you can tell like they're there for the money. Anyway, back to the film. That's the guy from Dangerous Minds and Con Air and Hackers. Who I haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, fair play. So she's been in a few things, hasn't she? The Black Lass.
I'm not sure, but he's the one. He's the he plays the gay lad in Con Air who's dancing around.
Yeah.
He's Johnny Lee Miller's like the hacker, but I tell you what he is. He's got very characteristics of like Paulie Shaw in his other roles. But he's a really good actor, I think. Cut the power, baby. That's what's coming here. The most quotable line of the movie. Is Paul? Are you awake?
I'm here. I'm just listening to you guys.
Cut the power, baby. He just tried to surround to you. Of course, it would come in there. Chucky Whip.
Oh, Chucky Whip.
Now I'm going to butcher this name because I just can't word it in my head. I'm curious if you guys can elaborate why it's kind of a fact in this film. Is all I say is Sylvester Stallone wears a Panerai watch. That's Panerai. Is that a special watch of some sort? Or?
Must be just might be just a
promotion.
A brand that people use in like, I don't know, that probably is promotion.
Yeah, it's probably what
like a Gucci watch or something like that.
Again, no, Stallone's the only person not what comes in. Is anyone not watching these screens? Like all them. Yo.
You'd have someone watching them all the time, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Cut the power, baby.
I told you, you're not going to get that out of your head for days now. Cut the power, baby.
I'll say that tomorrow morning when we go for my English breakfast. Cut the sauce, baby.
Where are you going to be English breakfast, Paul?
I'm just going around just down the butchers. I'm going to have a little treat.
Another film, Volcano, though, like again with these disaster movies like this, there's a lot of it takes place in like a control room. Because Volcano is like that, because that's is it Donnie Yen who's War Machine. He's the guy in control of the. That right?
This is where I learned about electric and shoes.
Yeah.
I would have some electric left in that somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you want to say it, Carl?
It's just a movie, Paul.
Yo, it's just a movie. You know what I mean?
Norman.
Norman Bates.
No, he's just.
Oh, bastard. Yeah, when you go down the tunnel, you want to turn on all that. You can go breathe and blah 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 blah.
Again, it's like Demolition Man, isn't it? He's brought into a situation that he used to be in, and he knows how to solve it, and no one else does.
Yeah, I love this. Like, it's basically like an education lesson for us. It's like a big toy, isn't it? Like someone would make with machines. It's such a good diagram because obviously easier just be all CGI, but it's actually really good to have like a model practical effect. They're going, we're here.
Well, it's like props, though, isn't it? Because they've clearly used these to do the scenes. And thought, let's reuse them, let's get as much use out of them as we can.
And it works really well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the
Again, like, I mean, like, being able to, like, when they actually made stuff like this, I mean, we look at how long the A1 was backed up with modifications, and it was like fucking 2 years, and like, what's the fucking difference? Oh, there's an extra lane, wow, they're fucking still just to fuck. And then to think how long it took them to build that.
Oh man, the time tunnel always reminds me of this film. Always.
I've done a review in the time tunnel for this movie.
Yep, I know.
Twice.
You.
Yeah, he is again. Gonna bug the hell out of me. Is that Tash as well? I'm sure he's had that Tash before.
Yeah, he looks like a proper New Yorker, doesn't he?
Carl, you're going to have to IMDb him.
What do you call Frank?
Yeah. I think he's in Alien's Resurrection.
Yes, you're right. As soon as you said it, I'm going to verify it, but that's exactly who he is, or at least that's who I'm picturing. Because he's in the one infamous scene where, like, he doesn't run away, he just stand there scared while the alien looks at him.
Does he not get hit in the back of the head and
hairy arms where he's like the major guy?
Yeah.
Him, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I should mention as well, since it was already referenced before, this was apparently heavily rewritten. Was actually meant to be. Obviously, I don't know if it was before or after the potential cliffhanger sequel, but this was also meant to be a sequel to Poseidon Adventures.
No way.
Apparently, the story was that it's a freight train in mountains in a foreign country, and of course, there's an incident where they all get trapped in a tunnel. Hence why you get the feeling that it's pretty much Poseidon Adventures, but different location.
Sounds like Under Siege. The first one on a boat, the second one on a train.
Yeah, but that's what I was just thinking. It's that era, isn't it? Where, of course, naturally you can have that same film, just different location.
Stallone's gone. We did that in Tango and Cash. You know what I mean?
I mean,
well, he did a lot of stuff, but the first thing that popped up on IMDb that he's known for is, well, this is Frank, of course, we mentioned, is The Usual Suspects, Clueless, Blood Simple, and Mulholland Drive. But of course, if I go down,
some big ones there, like Clueless.
Hey, Clueless was that. He was in ER, which of course naturally it's a starter for any actor. He's done a lot of stuff. Yeah, General Perez from Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, I remember him. He puts a hat on. He puts a hat on, but he's got like the most hairiest back and the most hairiest arms I've ever seen ever. I don't know why, but Viggo Mortensen, reminds me of like Owen Wilson.
The thing is about this bloke, right, is that he's never ever looked as cool.
He's gonna die.
I told you.
Whenever he was Aragorn from the Lord of the Rings, every other role he's done, it doesn't quite hold the coolness that he had in that film.
He just dropped into that though, wasn't he? Because he replaced Stuart Townsend.
Yeah.
He just hasn't done anything after that. He did that. Was it not the Road? What's the one he did after that?
The Road.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, the Road. And then that was it? Really?
Have you seen History of Violence?
History of Violence, yeah.
I've got a signed copy of that somewhere.
Did I
So
sign it?
I recognise Frank because I literally just watched this last week. Disney film, which I think is brilliant. Rookie of the Year.
Baseball one.
Aye.
I
Well, that's
love that film.
it's-
I loved it as a kid. And I
it's
watched
Kevin
that
from
Disney film,
American
I was
Pie.
like, still works.
It's Kevin from American Pie, isn't it? When he's a kid.
Aye. Gary Busey.
Is that why he breaks his arm?
Aye.
He breaks his arm. He's got something. He turns into an action figure. Whenever an action figure had like an action ability, it was just a spring in an arm or something like that.
Like karate chop. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. Disney Plus, I might give it a watch.
Yeah, it's really good. Have you got a Disney Plus? Paul?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. How do you think you watched
The prop culture and
of course you did, yeah.
Laurie and stuff.
Yeah. I just thought you might have found other ways of viewing that.
I pay for Disney Plus, but someone else has got it.
Huh?
Brittany.
Oh, yeah.
You want me plus, do you?
Well, this is what I was going to suggest. I was going to say if you didn't have it, Paul, I would be able to extend a particular password. But, well, thank you.
So, no, Casper, give us it. Like bloody.
Oh, so you
bloody
use
old
him as
keyboard.
well? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm you know, I'm like a freebie these days. You want me going there? You are.
Now, here's an interesting fact that I read the other day about this, which now I'm realising what they're getting at, is that Stallone's entire outfit here, right, resembles Chris Redfield's outfit.
It does, aye.
Evil game. And yet, both of these, Resident Evil and this, came out, like, literally months apart from each other. And it's such a weird thing that he pretty much looks exactly the same.
Well, they were
Like,
both
I
probably
remember
based
thinking-
on like previous years, like basic. I mean, you can't blame the internet for stuff like that because the internet still at this time was very, very, like proper digital pixelation and shit.
Can I just say, I used one of those massive tools to take the bike seat off my bike. It was bloody massive like that. You.
Now this is what the image there, are probably there. This is what they
yeah.
use on the new front cover.
Yeah. Is it blue-ish?
It's just dark, really. It's lost its cosmic orange, yeah.
Got orange and
is
black
like
and that.
the artwork. Yeah.
I mean, this is just ludicrous. They had to shut it down because, right, they originally built it, right? They're on about built it years and years and years ago. They've obviously had to go in to put that fucking machine in,
Yeah.
so they can stop it.
Yeah, Jones, when he's in the fourth one, when he's in Area 51, that had a digital display on there, and digital was invited for like another few years. It's just a movie.
Yeah, you can't see it yourself. That's when you shut some. The rules now is you can only shut it. I like it how the camera's actually on the going around and it gets that.
Yep.
It's quite. It's
Yeah.
nice. A nice extra additive.
It's like it's tied on the fan, isn't it? Oh god, that would hurt that like.
Or,
We fell on his
but
back.
for the record, we're 43 minutes in, and we've already had two. It's just a movie. I think we need to be kind of keep track on these.
I'm waiting for my new channel. You know, my new channel's coming out. So
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the promo. I need to see like a trailer before I invest in it.
Of course, he would get stuck on the last one.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, like Carl said, he put a little bit of weight on, didn't he? So
Chunky Stallone, man. I thought he'd just enjoying his cakes.
typical. That's good.
Fair play to him though. He would have made a fortune in the early '90s. Though.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's so bloody painful. But it's a good thing that like you had to get rid of all that stuff. Then he's back to square one, isn't it? When he goes back down to meet them.
Yeah.
So yeah, the advantages of everything else.
I mean, if he was doing this now, he'd obviously be dropping his phone at this point.
Yeah.
Is he watching this? Bloody hell.
I mean, I think this would have been really good now in 3D.
I think 3D's gone now.
I've got to say, like, I mean, to be honest with you, other than maybe one or two, I'm not endorsing 3D. And this is someone who has a Sony Bravia 3D TV in his house that hasn't been turned on for like about a year. It's just sitting doing nothing. But I don't know, like the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol and the first Alice in Wonderland, those films absolutely blew me away in the 3D aspect of it. Everything else I've seen, it's non-existent. I don't know if my eyes or what.
We'll discuss that on me future of movies on my channel.
It's just the fact there, man, he went down like Alice in Wonderland's hole there. He went flying through, and now he's like stuck in a fucking massive speaker. I mean,
it is like the advert, isn't it, of the speakers in the olden days? you know
what it's reminded me of? Can you remember? I don't know if you'd ever went in, but at the Hoppins, remember that cylinder room where you would stand in it and then it would just push you up against the wall?
Oh, from the G-Force, yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
what it reminded me of.
All the money would fall out and you'd never see it again.
I always used to laugh at the fact that the sad world that we live in is that, like, you paid £5 to do it, but then, like, people then paid, like, £3 to go and stand on the top to watch. It's just like, oh yeah, why would you ever want to watch something like that? Surely it'd be, I'm going to do it.
I mean, talk about making the movie even more fucking... Now he's got to hang upside down to open it up.
Like with Batman. The score is really good, like.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think Randa Eldman also did the Bruce Lee story, and obviously Dragonheart. So yeah, he's Rob Cohen's worked with a few times.
So it's what?
Lead role in Dragonheart. Who was the lead role in Dragonheart?
Dennis Quaid.
No.
Dennis Quaid. I'm sitting there going, it's not Kevin Costner. I think it looked like Kevin Costner. It's not him, though. And I just can't think of it. But Dennis Quaid, of course.
Yes.
Just saying there, though, like when Vigo gets killed here, is it a direct result of Schwarzenegger's explosion? Stallone's.
Oh.
Well, not really, because that's just a little...
Deductive from Mason.
Don't hassle us, man, please. More getting...
You don't want to be at work, so...
And I rushed back. I mean, I'm trying to fucking buy a house. In between finishing work tonight, I've technically like 80% bought a house. And then Paul Ray's like, I've got to have a cup of tea and do some yoga before. And Carl's like, oh, I've got to have a shit. And I'm like, fucking hell, guys. Like rushing around, and he deleted Robin Hood.
Do you know when you go for a walk and the ears get really cold and they get ringing in the ears? That's what he's dealing with right there. You know, when people try and talk to you, but the pain is so bad, you just don't want anyone to talk to you. You get angry. That's what it's like. Stallone, I just want to say that. Then Mason and his shits.
No, Paul and the shits.
No, I was the one having the shits.
The other night when you were messaging us, Mason, with pictures.
Oh, and a name.
Listen, you know, I was getting grief for talking about my shit, but I was like, hey, at least I'm not saying the fucking photographs.
I named me poo the other night, Paul Ray.
You did.
Because it was big and then it was skinny.
Right, yeah, fair enough, yeah. I mean,
because I haven't got like you know, a mental disorder or anything, you know what I mean? Before
yeah,
this.
Well, don't start getting offended, Paul. We've got too much of that in this country as it is.
I know. I'm just in a
be British, take it on the chin, and call them something worse. That's how you deal with your issues. What's the
Stallone character's called in here? Thingy the Tour. What's it called? Ace Ventura.
No.
What's his name?
It's Kit. Kit something.
Latour?
Kit Latour.
Yeah. I think that's what gives me a I just forgot what his... Because obviously we just call him Stallone.
Stallone.
But like I said, Mason said before, Vigo is just Vigo. See? He's just taking advantage of the situation. Go right. I want to have this. I want to do this. I want to switch.
It's a really bad CGI death, though.
But then the thing is, he's actually on the phone. He could actually ring the emergency services, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah,
could actually. So basically, it is an ego trip. Makes no sense before.
He did not a ego trip.
Oh.
Well, he'd be like,
How did you miss that one?
make sure you get the camera ready because I'm about to climb out of here, you know what I mean?
Damn it, that was good, that.
I thought I'm quite impressed with myself.
Damn it, you're beating us away from the other night.
I can't believe we ended up doing a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't.
Although, well, I was going to say, if you felt it, fair enough. I didn't feel it.
No.
I didn't feel it. I just knew it was going to be a long one because obviously it was 2 hours and 3 minutes and our
We need to get that first episode of Branching Out done as well.
I know, but you're about work. It's all, you know, it's getting there.
Well, I finish at 7 o'clock every night. 7 o'clock every night.
Well, that'll work out because even when I'm back to work, I generally I get back in the house. I normally get in the house for about 6:30. So 7 o'clock is a kind of good time, like, for everyone, I think.
That was a good effect. Did you say it?
Yeah, it's a really good effect. That.
Yeah.
Again, it's all practical, so it works. You know what I mean? And like, when you do that, it's only gonna just have natural movement. Like now, someone was doing that. Make it look like more of a pipe, so people know what's happening. No.
It kind of reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one, where Freddy's above a bed, and obviously it's just like a cloth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Way goes through. Then when I'm watching the remake, the CGI was like, that looks so bad. It's just like,
I was just gonna say he didn't really get far, did he? Climbing.
Not really.
It's really bad. This.
Why Stallone has 2 torches? It's just such an unusual look.
so you can play Star Wars with them.
Well, I really don't like the CGI when he gets down and he just sort of just disappears.
The book. Dad, it's me, Bad Sage.
Good enough, yeah.
You gave us that necklace, but you give Tommy Gunn my bedroom, remember?
Well, I tell you who was here comes. Just when he lands and it's just sort of...
Oh yeah, then he looks up, doesn't he? Oh yeah. You think he's waiting for it? Oh god, that's so bad.
Oh yeah.
He just disappears though, doesn't he?
I reckon he could have jumped out the way, like. He was tied in, but he still had enough slack to jump out the way.
It's the same kind of death as Emilio Esteves in Mission Impossible.
Well, it's not really, is it?
Well, he is. He's in the lift. He's going up, and he's just like, and the blades come down. He just goes, well, he just stares deaf, and he gets killed.
Right, I get where you're going with that. I just think, well, now there's like a bunch of shit fell on him. Emilio Esteves get pushed in the spikes, but I get what you mean now. Because I think you do, though, don't you? Like, in that situation, your brain must sit there and go, oh, well, fuck it.
Well, it's something we've all got to come, like, in it, but it's like that. So how do you go? It's that kind of shock thing, you know, like, you haven't got really time to think.
Nah. Not in this day and age, anyway.
He looked up, had some chewing gum and bring it on. That's what he did. You do what me, I fell through the water, you are.
Now, another actor just follow his similar movies is Van Damme, because Chris Van Damme's been in fucking loads of Van Damme's movies, from a kid up to now, always being the fucking henchman for the bad guy in Van Damme's films.
Yeah. I always get the idea, though, that Stallone's pushing for stage acting. He never really struck me as someone who really wanted to be there, you know, like you could totally tell in Rocky, it might have been a little bit of, oh Dad, can I be in your next film?
Yeah.
But I can feel it totally like, no, I want my son to play it, my son in the film. It was always Rocky being that kind of, I want to be authentic. So
well, Stallone's got,
I
mean, I wouldn't be able to spot Stallone's 3 daughters, because he's got 3 daughters in life, hasn't he?
They are, and to be honest with you, and I'm going to say it, they're pretty fit, like, so you're not going to really strikingly you sit there, oh, that look like Stallone's daughters. Well, you see them quite a lot on Instagram, like, got like a kind of.
I mean, he's a good question for you. Are we going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
I don't know, because with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 you got James Gunn. I feel like there's going to be something very unique about that film, because I think of all the shit that James Gunn went through. So I feel like he could end up doing something so like bombastic that you might just throw Arnie in there, or you might get Stallone continue his role as one of the Ravagers. But then I don't know. I feel like it didn't really gel well. If you watch the blooper reel, like Stallone has no idea what he's talking about. It's one of those things where he didn't like done the research, like as if he knows what he's saying. It looks like he just read words on a paper and just saying them back. I think it took him about 3 or 4 attempts just to say Ravagers. Like every time he tried to say it, he just kept on saying it wrong. I just thought, I don't think this is you.
Sage's, Sage full name was Sage Moonblood Stallone. It was a heart attack apparently, caused by drugs. Empty prescription drug bottles were found at the scene, but an autopsy and toxicology tests said that the current determined that Sage died of a coronary artery disease caused by other things, but apparently there's no drugs detected other than over-the-counter pain.
That's the thing that always gets me with Hollywood now, though. Is like, to be honest with you, I can totally see it being something like that. But even the whole Heath Ledger thing, like
he's 36 years old.
Yeah, he was young. Yeah, it just feels like in Hollywood, it seemed like a very easy thing to say, accidental overdose. It covers a lot of different deaths in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Rather than going into detail, just like he had a heart attack. Yeah, because he had half a ton of cocaine in his system. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. It's abuse. It's prior abuse, really. Just going back there, we were talking about before. Obviously, the other convict who had a go at Stallone, who's like got all angsty, he's just been killed there by the backdraft explosion again.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the dad was there and the dad got killed. Do you know what I mean? Like the one you don't expect, because that's what you would get now. You would get the person you don't expect getting killed in the backdraft.
Yeah.
Because essentially, I mean, I don't think he survives, but again, if he did a modern day one, the whole family wouldn't survive.
Nah. Do we think, even though I think we could all argue that he was a hell of an actor, do we think that River Phoenix would have been a huge success, like as in this day and age, or do you think he would have like disappeared into the whole like kind of private?
It's much tragic as River Phoenix dying. I think, like, especially when you look at stuff at My Own Private Idaho and stuff, how he had started, went like he'd had a big break. I mean, his delivery and Stand By Me on that fucking crime performance is just like unbelievable. And he was diverse going into stuff like Dark Blood. Dark Blood's actually just appeared called Dubai in Germany for the first time in nearly 30 years,
Oh, really?
His last ever movie, yeah. I was going to buy it the other day, but I've ended up buying something else. But like River, like, you can see in River's performances, he had the look, but it started taking a lot of and roles, like in Sneakers and a thing called Love and all that. But like Own Private Idaho and all that, he kind of, I think he would have had a bit of a checkered 90s, but I think he would have had a massive comeback in the 2000s. Because he was the one, like, if you look at Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, because Phoenix was mainly part of that clique thing, he died. Do you know what I mean? He's the one out of that group that died. But Joaquin was there when he died as well. And Joaquin, he's the biggest star now. You know what I mean? There's two other. I think there's a brother and sister, like, but I think I don't think Joaquin would have been as big, because I think a lot of Joaquin's personal push he brings out of his performance will come from stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when he did that film, what was it called, man? Where he played the weirdo.
Fuck me, narrow it down. He's done a few of them.
The documentary when he went totally character.
Oh, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
So yeah. I feel like that was definitely like added into the role, but I couldn't like. I think there's a lot of the real. That was his way of getting a lot of his like kind of like his real personality traits out. I feel like he is awkward. I feel like he is very antisocial. I think he's very weird in that respect. But to be fair, what do you think of him when you think of his roles? You know, I mean, for me it's Gladiator, but then obviously now it's always but it's now going to be Joker forever now, isn't it?
I mean, he's been in a lot of movies. He was in 8mm. He was in Signs. I mean, obviously in The Village and stuff. You know what I mean? And like, he again playing the Joker. Like again, he's one of the people who went, "Oh, he's going to play a Joker." No one would have seen that coming. And it's just great casting by Todd Phillips as well. So, and again, Todd Phillips directing Joker. What's he known for before that? Road Trip, Hangover, and fucking Old School. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any fucking logical sense.
No. But that's where you get glimpses of faith in Hollywood, in my opinion. So Hollywood people will say, "Oh, it's all reboots and remakes and all this bullshit." But you get things like that. Like you get the Jordan Peele being given a role to do a horror film. You know, the guy who is, I cannot stand his comedy. I don't think he's a funny person at all, and that's just my personal take. But, like, someone obviously turned around and says, "Yeah, well, let's see what he does." And he does Get Out, which is an awesome film. But then you also get someone like that who then says, "Let's do a Joker film that's not actually a comic book film. It's going to focus so much more on social anxiety and the modern day struggle between classes." You know, in the world today, you would imagine most studios would be like, "But where's Batman going to come in?" You know, there's like, no, there's actually going to be no Batman. It's like stuff like that. Like, I mean, Hollywood still has stuff like that.
They probably will make a second one and have Batman in it or whatever, because it's going to be money, but again, with the awards, but again, it's the whole thing about, like, loving the Joker as a character and to get his own movie and stuff like that.
But the thing is, I think he was a genius in what he did with that. But I mean, I might be proven wrong, but I cannot say a story that allows him to be the Joker all the way through the film. I think the only reason the Joker works is because he's not really the Joker. He's a man struggling, which we can all kind of relate to. But it just happened to be that he kind of has that Joker at the end. If you have him as the Joker all the way through, I can't think of a storyline that would actually work. I can't see him going up against Batman or, you know, having a Gotham City the way like the Batman comics depict. So, I mean, I'll be the first person to say I do not want to see a Joker 2. You're probably right, but I just don't. I can't see it right now that would work. Whereas, you know, might do. But
this the wife here. Yeah, I just was reading the main wife here. She is the ghost mother in Casper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was the year before, like, isn't it?
Someone just posted that Casper's got the Steelbook, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I was just like, oh really? Weird. That's weird. I did facts and figures soon, so don't worry about it. I'm just getting everything ready.
Going back to just a quick bit more about the Joker. Now, this obviously inspires the front cover, that bit. But going back to just the Joker, today I put out Harley Quinn, essentially Suicide Squad 2 for Monday's new release, and like we had Suicide Squad, which obviously Jared Leto became the Joker in it, and then between that and Harley Quinn, we've had the Joker movie. Do you know what I mean? So the Hollywood wasn't even waiting around. Do you know what I mean? I guess especially like with DC trying to jump on Marvel, DC should take a hint from Joker and look at more. Keep doing the TV show stuff, but like aim more darker on stuff. I think, especially the way Gotham turned out.
Do you think though that they didn't expect Joker to be as big of a hit?
Oh fuck no!
Even though the back did, do you think there's no point worrying about people thinking, "Oh, who's going to be the Joker?" Because we just had Jared Leto, now we've got him. Is it the same studios? Is it the same people? Is it the same players? And I think purely they had no I wouldn't say no faith in it, but they definitely didn't expect the sort of reaction that got.
Well, that's the best thing though, because when they push it for Justice League, like, oh, Justice League, and like, what the fuck have I just watched?
Yeah.
But
you watched it on the plane, didn't you, Mason?
Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do own the Steelbook.
No, I wasn't getting at that. I was just wondering, did you kind of have because I certainly did in the cinema, and I think there were quite a few who did in the cinema when I watched it. But did you have a genuine laugh out loud moment when the midget couldn't open the door? Yeah.
Mate, I watched The Joker, no word of a lie, on a 17.5-hour flight from fucking New Zealand to Dubai in a massive aeroplane. And like the thing is about when you watch a film on an aeroplane, next thing you know, especially when you go through that obviously all of a sudden it's just the captain and Indian, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And you can't take your headphones off quick enough, you know what I mean? And then you get the English, then the film starts again, so...
It's a weird way. I don't think I thought, I must have watched one film when I went to America, but we're going back to like 2002. I was and it wasn't. I didn't have a plane where we had the TV screen in the head of the seat.
But he's I don't know if that'll be Stallone. I mean, he did a lot of his own stuff in Cliffhanger. That's for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is like.
This was some kind of universal ride, doesn't it? Like one of
those Earthquake.
Yeah.
But again, though, it's universal. At the end of the day, if this film's a big hit, all they need to do is shove a fucking tank ride on the backlot tour or something like this, and like say it from the set of Daylight. Do you know what I mean? Because Universal, because they've got the studio, that's why Waterworld's been playing for years and years and years, because like. They establish a brand, and it's not just like, right, get it out there on DVD. They actually want to make attractions out of this. They want films to be a big hit. So they've got it on the backlot, you know what I mean, in any way, shape or form.
Yeah. It could be like one of those shows, like I said, I mean, have him blow that up, that starts rolling, but then obviously, like an audience watching it around, like, I mean, but obviously it didn't do that well, did it? But the budget was 90 million. US dollars.
Fuck me, that's a lot.
159.
Oh well, I did money, but that's a lot of money, like.
It's not like a entire bomb, like I suppose, but
yeah, but not as much as I think there's going.
I mean, that's mental to consider, and I think the year before was Waterworld, wasn't it? So they were chucking a lot of money at big, like, epic movies and named actors and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think they would have been happy with that because obviously. The fact that it is such a recycled script. Like you say, they're sitting there going, well, this was supposed to be Cliffhanger. This was supposed to be a different film called Poseidon Adventures 2. So they probably sat there and thought, you know what, at least it's been made, and at least they're getting some form of money out of it.
I think if this was Cliffhanger 2, which it doesn't, but again, it's just like, it would have took away, because I think Cliffhanger had, you know what I mean, it's just, the character...
It was all about,
It's just, I mean, it's just such like an extreme stuff anyway. Just throw all the fucking, I mean, the bit where he gorilla presses the guy into the spikes and stuff. It's like, what the fuck? But there's some really good action in that.
The bit where he just pops out of the water there is always on the trailer, wasn't it? Where he pops out of the water. So there's nothing worse than trying to run in freaking water, is there?
But hold on a minute. If I remember this correctly, how did this go? He goes under the water, doesn't he? Oh, wait.
He goes under the water for 2 seconds and pops back up.
That was, I remember it being like that way. I'm thinking that had no purpose. He couldn't have gotten there faster just by jumping.
Yeah, probably would have actually, yeah. So, 1996, we have, a bit early Paul's facts and figures, we have Independence Day, Twister. Forgot about that one, didn't we?
Universal. Twister was Universal and Warner Brothers, wasn't it? That was a collaboration, a very rare one.
Primal Fear, Mission Impossible, From Dusk Till Dawn, Trainspotting, The Craft, Cable Guy, Jerry Maguire, Scream, English Patient, Giant Peach, The Frighteners, Time to Kill, Rock, B. Gilmore, Space Jam, Night Professor, Mars Attacks, Romeo and Juliet, The Birdcage, Sleepers, Matilda, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Kingpin, The Rival, Jingle All the Way, Dragonheart also, the same year, Broken Arrow, Tin Cup, bloody hell, Phenomenon, Eraser, etc. There's loads of films, so a really, really big year. No wonder it didn't do that well.
I mean, to be honest with you,
I watched that a few weeks ago. I checked how good it was.
It's a great film.
The thing is, that year, obviously, some of these films, because of how big they were, they're probably filmed, especially like Independence Day and shit like that, they're probably filmed from 94 to 95, do you know what I mean?
Well, this is It's interesting that I definitely made a point to go and see Twister at the cinema. Yet, what's lifting that up?
They're just a background, and you know, the Ghostbusters when roads go.
See,
That's not like that. That's not physically possible.
but going back to that though, that's the kind of like, this is the kind of death that you don't expect, but it's the big oh dear death. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the rescuer, then have to leave him because he's got like a broken bloody neck. It's like, that's the worst thing ever, that. That looks so good in bloody HD. Bloody hell. It is a good looking film in HD.
Oh, it's time.
That's it. Let's see you later.
So, as always, halfway through the podcast, we get cut out. Yeah, me and Brittany are trying to buy a house. It's just fucking whops on about buying this house. Not whops on in a bad way. It's like took Brittany to be able to sort a house out 2 days after I returned to work. So once again, sponsored by Steel Town Music and Paint Concert. Hiya.
I thought actually let us go past a little bit after an hour there. Right?
Yeah, we got to an hour and a half on Robin Hood, didn't we?
Yeah. I'm going to try and get this out because
This is kind of
I
like,
made a point of seeing Twister at the cinema. Yet strangely enough, I never made a point of seeing Independence Day. I didn't see that until VHS.
Oh, Independence Day was good at the pictures. I believe I seen Twister as well. I mean, again, talking about disaster movies, we completely missed that one. But that was definitely, like, I always found that weird that it was a Warner Brothers and Universal production. But obviously, Jan de Bont as well, he obviously done Speed. Which, again, you could probably put, like, in that era of, like, you know, it's not a disaster movie, but it's, like, the Under Siege on a bus. Yeah.
He's stuck in the water with a tube. How horrible. I mean, I hate. I mean, if I go swimming, I kind of put my head in the water. I kind of do it. I hate it.
Really?
So thinking of something like this is horrible. But then again, it's showing you it all come together.
Yeah. Again, yeah. It's got a powerful message about humanity. How, you know what I mean? You've always got to be nice to strangers. You know what I mean? I mean, even if someone at first, like, home on your fucking dickhead, like, all right, like, whatever. But, like, even then, you need to, like, it's the best thing about life. It's like them little things, because you never know, right? If you do something nice to a person, right, you might forget who they are. Just like even crossing the street, or, you know, stopping, or like, in 10 years later, you might see that person, and they're like, oh, I remember when you did that for me. And I'm like, fucking hell, I don't. But again, do you know, and like, that's what's, you know what I mean, it's good about it. It's also very convenient that guy's got loads of wood in the back of his car, but
He's building a shed.
It's just
Go back to the score.
Yeah, go back to the score.
Empowering, and it's really good. I mean, I think if it wasn't for the score, I mean, it's a great film anyway, but the score and the music just adds so much to it. I know what they do anyway, but they haven't shied away from it. I mean,
it's a big
really
score for a very confined film.
It kind of opens up a little bit, doesn't it? The score.
Oh, because you would have been sensing claustrophobia. You don't want something like, you don't want a John Carpenter score in this. Dun dun. Dun dun.
Bum, bum. Bum, bum.
Question is, how cold is that water? It's going to be freezing in it.
Well, before when Stallone was hanging on the rafters, he was blowing his hand.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but that's obviously been filmed in a tank, because you really don't see the rest of the room. It's kind of isolated off. But a great transition underwater.
Colgate.
But it's a great transition, that the water to the next scene. So I was laughing at the news there today, because obviously the 2 meter apart rule, when the news reporters are going along holding the boom mic.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few reports like that where it just looks weird.
Can anyone remember seeing a massive Colgate sign like that ever? From before?
I remember the advert, the animation, where the family are in the pajamas. But did you know, historically, Colgate was actually known for being a big success in America, but was actually made by an Englishman.
Was it an Englishman in New York by any chance?
He was. He did him She was actually in New York. Oh wow, I believe so. I want to say so. I might have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was New York.
Oh, it's got to get your little history fact in there, haven't you?
Music reference you gave in this podcast, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
You want me to who you are.
I mean, that's a great little throwaway visual, that though. Like, oh, walk along here.
Yeah.
Well, I want a fireball to come out behind me. All right, we'll get a fireball. Perfectly fine. But again, visually, it's stunning because the glowiness of the orange and stuff in the shots, I think, is mint. Because if not, it's black.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's dark. You're not going to see anything. Like talking about the relic, Paul. You know what I mean? When I was on about how bad I couldn't see stuff. That is, I think this relic would have been the year after this. And again, because they've got that glowing ember look, I think it really gives a nice little style to the film as well. Especially on Blu-ray, because it looks lush in the background just on the tiles.
Yeah.
At least it's dried off now. This is like this bit where people died or something. I can't remember now.
I like how I've just opened up the screen. I figured I was looking at facts about this before. But if you Google in 1996 daylight, and then obviously Google have like certain things, and I love how like close to the top is does the dog die in daylight? It's like a lot of people have this thing about animals dying in films. That's something I want to say.
Oh, it's a mood killer, man.
I mean, but it is something of like a lot of people. I think there is actually a website where you can actually look up. It will like post like different facts about if this film has any animals and whether or not any animals die, so people can look at that before they invest. Again,
it's more like, I think, like family. Like, I mean, don't get us wrong. I think we're a bit numb when it comes to movies about people dying, and like I think we've seen it so much and we're so overexposed. And especially, it just depends on someone's journey through life. But I think when it's an animal, I think there's just, I mean, unless you're a Michael Myers serial killer, but I think when it's an animal and a dog, and it's more like the yelp of a dog and stuff like that, when it's just been like killed. For example, Planet Terror, when fucking Jeff Farley's dog just jumps out in front of a semi-truck and we get it fucking turned into Swiss jelly in front of us, and you're like, fuck me, that was a bit like dust done for the shot, you know what I mean? But then you see, is it Blue Valentine, when she's driving along and she finds a fucking dog at the end of the street, and you're like, oh, that's a bit fucking bleak. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like one of those things. It's like, you don't want to watch a movie. I'm sorry, you don't want to go to the pictures like the Odeon and see like adverts about dying and drowning just before you're about to watch a movie. It's like, come on, man. It's escapism.
I think you remember that advert with the kid being knocked over, but it was played in reverse.
Oh yeah.
Or
like, oh, such and such didn't know his killer, but she did. He didn't have the seatbelt on behind her, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that before a film.
Well, that's it. The one where the cars like clearly hit the wall, it flipped, but then the shot reverses, and just before the car comes over, it's like a bunch of kids having a picnic, and then it obviously pauses, and then starts going into all the action figures. It's like, you literally just showed me a car. Well, they haven't showed me, but like literally implied that a car's just wiped out, like 6 to 7 kids having a picnic. That's a bit of a mood changer.
Again, here it's lays it down thick because they have to leave him, don't they? So it's like
horrible, Not yet, but no, well, yeah. But then it's a decision, isn't it? It's like, that's what a horrible thing is. You just got to just lie there and die.
I could never be the hero because I don't think I could leave him. I think in this group I'd be the one saying, I tell you what, you lot go, I'll stay behind because there's no way I don't think in myself I could leave one.
Bye.
It's like the Hollywood ending, isn't it? It's kind of like, there's going to be... It's like 50 First Dates when she hasn't got a cure for her memory and you think, she's going to be sorted by the end of it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you're like, oh, fuck.
Do you know when people are in the water like this? Yeah? Did you guys ever used to hold your breath? How long you can hold it for?
Oh, yeah.
At the same time as this person. Like Alien Resurrection in the water. I'm like...
Well, because it used to be something that me and my mate would have done in the swim baths. We would have timed each other to see who could hold the breath the longest.
Just when I just
That's why I always sit there and think that it's just part of these films where I just know this is the point where I die.
Yeah.
Like Alien Resurrection, when the lass is panicking about going in the water, that's me. You can actually swim.
Yeah, me too.
And I can hold my breath, but like when you watch films, I say no. At this point, I would have died. So,
Worst death
I
like
believe
that.
with the other guy.
Kurt Russell
Have
in
you
the Poseidon Adventure remake.
Poseidon. Poseidon's
Yeah.
what the big
Wow.
horrible death that is.
It's
Oh,
horrible,
Jesus.
that. Because you don't expect Kurt Russell to die in the first round of that movie.
Nah.
Dreyfus, though. Richard Dreyfus.
Yeah, what a Dreyfus. As you mentioned before, it literally is called doesthedogdie.com, and it covers video game, books, movies, TV, everything. So if you ever need to check something out before you watch it, doesthedogdie.com.
I'll watch it after I watch something else.
Are you now branching off and getting sponsorships, Carl? Is that what you're doing?
What do you mean?
Fuck.
Doesthedogdie.com? I'm just saying it's a website that anyone can access at the World Wide Web at any given time.
It's all right when I cut off from you guys. I keep at the moment saying this episode's sponsored by Steel Time Music, so you know, win-win. So I keep saying stuff, right? Because if you guys don't listen them back, you don't know what I've said about yous. Paul's like, fuck.
Until it's free when I put on the day, I was like, alright.
But
It'll be Tremors 5 I released tonight. Get some more grief tomorrow, I'll imagine.
Yeah, your FT.
I mean, to be honest with you, right? Who says that in the 2000s and 10s?
It is
Such a 90s.
Just a
Financial
I'd
Times.
be more offended by that than cunt, to be fair. I think it's the worst word.
So she was in Last Boy Scout as well.
I never remember that film. I've seen it a bunch of times, but every time I see the front cover with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis, that's the one in the eye.
Friday night's a great night for football. Longest fucking epic power ballad intro to a movie fucking ever. But have you never seen it before?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times, but it's one of those films I just never have any recollection of it. I know who's in it. I can tell you.
To start the
what's
movie,
going on, but
when Billy Banks just runs down the football field with a gun shooting everyone, then blows his head off. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't it set it up where he's in the locker room and he's like sort of adjusting the gun and everything?
Yeah, it's fucking
They all
unbelievable.
come out, yeah. I always remember that. That's the scene I will say I remember then.
Yeah, because it's sad scene. Oh, it's so...
Right, Carl, can you IMDb the dad? Because he was in Summer and he's just like, I'm sure he comes off as a creepy vibe in a movie, but...
Can I just say, I was going to say about the dad before. He dressed like Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead 2. He's got like the blue tee, the blue top, and like the brown trousers.
Right, so I haven't scrolled any further, and the picture of him now, I literally think he plays the creepy stepdad in Rookie of the Year. I'm just going to look at it now. But, I'm going to look at it. So we've got him known for The Day After Tomorrow. Morgan Freeman, Kiss the Girl.
Might be kissing.
Revolutionary Road. Edge of Darkness with Mel Gibson. Let's see. What else are you doing? Chicago Med, The Lost Shadows. Not seen anything familiar. So you're doing True Detective.
He's gonna be in the X-Files, isn't he?
I could say probably.
You're the only person I've referenced as X-Files in 2020.
Yeah, I'm halfway through the new series.
He's done a few episodes of Law and Order, Green Lantern. He did voices on Red Dead Redemption.
Rookie of the Year, though, yeah? Got to watch it next few days.
I haven't hit it yet, but I'm sure it's still a bit early. I'm running down in date. So I'm starting to head into 2000s.
I know we keep going on about this film, but the transfer is really good. The green and the dark, you know what I mean? It looks really good.
Yeah.
It's got people with the best looking Universal mid-90s ones I've seen. And then again, it was shot in film. It wouldn't have been digital either, so maybe that's why it's got a better presentation with the master.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I seen this in the shop to buy. So it could essentially end up on fucking Adder Academy at this rate, because it would be in Universal.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get a bloody Arrow release.
No. It's just not a kind of film. I mean, hasn't really got a cult following, has it? So I was surprised Bill and Ted's and stuff like that haven't been snapped up by Arrow.
Yeah, because well, there's time.
Again, this is quite bleak
wanna
for
see,
fucking
you know
a
what?
12, like.
Yeah, letting them just float off like that. That's a bit. Doesn't feel like that to sort of.
Because you kind of think that
Sort of
he miraculously turns up at the end, found. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You did JFK mention that might be a little bit of a.
I might have to have a look. Like, usually playing daylight. Hopefully, this doesn't interrupt the.
You can see him straight away. He's quite high up in the cast. I think it's Steve someone. But no, I might have been wrong. I didn't say rookie of the year.
Oh, I don't like the black font they've got on the daylight fucking IMDb, but hold your breath.
Is this a 12, is it?
Yeah. Oh, Gio Sanders.
Yeah. Nah, it's not the one from the.
No,
I'm disappointed. No.
They're doing that swimmy thing again. We'll have to swim.
Yeah. Nah, don't worry, Paul. We'll just hang back.
Oh, he's been
We'll
on
have to.
105th
Let's
fucking.
go and follow the guy that left float away. We'll find
Like
a
a
way.
turd. See, if listening that day, it does look like he's wearing Bruce Campbell's stuff. If you watch him,
He does, blue shirt.
well, listen,
Nobody can wear that sort of blue shirt and not get away with looking like some Bruce Campbell cosplay.
that was just pillow talk, that.
He's also in Angels in the Outfield, which obviously is another basketball film from the 90s.
Which one? Oh, this is horrible. How does this dog go and hold its breath?
Well, it's instinct, isn't it?
Well,
You're just gonna know to do it.
I'll try tomorrow for my mum's dog.
Wow.
Fucking hell. That's a bit, that went a bit dark there.
You're getting a bit dark. You're getting a bit dark on
You
these.
know it didn't work.
It's a little shit anyway.
Quick quag. No, it's dead. Don't worry about it.
And you've got a little bit of religion, which is very powerful in the Stallone disaster film. So this is was what the staff used to have breaks, isn't it?
No. It's where they lived while they were building it, and they were just.
Oh yeah. So it's a staff room, but it lives there. Yeah, when they're building the thing, that's what I meant. Room. Just sleep there. Like we do at work sometimes when the lawn doesn't set.
It must be Kiss the Girls and Along Came the Spiders that I know him from.
So that's took his hands from someone who don't even.
Well,
Like,
at least we know he's not in the X-Files. I mean, that's a good thing.
yeah.
Do you know who turned up in the X-Files last night when I was watching it? Haley Joel Osment.
Really?
As an old, like a guy now, yeah.
Last time I seen him was on was it that Amazon The Boys, wasn't it? Was it The Boys he was on, Carl?
Yeah. I seen him. One of these roles that I saw him recently in was the Entourage movie. It was strange. It was I don't know if you've ever watched that. Like seen the Entourage. It's kind of it's a bit cheese, but it's kind of basically it's Mark Wahlberg's production or something like that. But it's just basically like the Wahlburgers. No, apparently it's just basically a series based on like a young actor who is like being pretty much hyped up. He plays like a generic version of Aquaman, and like one of the episodes is its opening weekend makes more money than Spider-Man did. You know, so it's basically just like what a life of being an actor is in LA. And in all fairness, it is like silly at times, but it does do like you can see trying to attempt to make an honest kind of approach to what it would be like to be an actor. Like
How many
shallow, silly.
Sorry, man. How many times have rats saved people? Like of Indiana Jones? But I don't mean.
So the dog survived there, didn't he? Is the dog still there?
What was the last time I looked?
Kind of disappeared for a little bit.
Well, to be honest with you, the entire Avengers Endgame was only possible because of one rat.
Didn't it?
So there you have it, you know. You just happened to walk and press a button.
I too had a Marvel collection, Daddy. I like it when they rats are on films. We're not going to be horrible, but you can tell they're just stage rats, so not as feral as other rats.
Well,
I mean,
like actor rats.
Get a rat wrangler in.
Yeah, the actor rats.
The question is though, are they unionised?
No, I don't think I know.
What's the work conditions? I mean, I hope they're not like
It depends if it's
stuck
cheap.
in a sewer somewhere. Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Has the dog died or something? Is that why that woman's having a breakdown?
She's having a breakdown because there's a shitload of rats.
Why is the dog not barking at them?
I don't know.
And why are they humping up against the wall?
Oh no, did he
might
not
be
put on the
scared.
water with just a leader and the dog's disappeared? But then when they go up to the fake stairs, the dog appears and he jumps back in to get the dog. Because I've got the sound down at the moment, so I'm just trying to remember.
See, that's the problem. I've got the subtitles on, but I'm not really able to listen to it and do it at the same time.
Well, I'll do the voices if you want us to. Oh no. Leave that bloody bitch. I mean, what? Oh no. You know. Anyway, again, Poseidon Adventures did the same thing, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, now that I've seen that, I can totally see this being the Poseidon Adventures 2. See, Mason, did you notice on, I think it's what you mentioned about the black writing, is it the Hold Your Breath on the IMDb picture? It's weird, it's almost taken away from the title. I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking, it looked like the film called Hold Your Breath by a man called Stallone Daylight.
I mean, the tagline on the let me share. No air, no escape, no time. It's the tagline on the Blu-ray.
You know what it is? I mean, I feel like the 80s and 90s had the best tagline. I think once you get into 2000, I'll have to look some up, but I just remember talking about it a few years ago, and some of the taglines in like the early 2000s up to like modern day are just absolutely horrendous. You know, I'll have to look it up, like the best taglines, because some of them are just like, who allowed it? Who said yes to that?
Like, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, brilliant tagline for Jaws 2.
Yeah, huh? But because it also tells you something about...
Is she dead now, is she?
To a certain degree.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, she's dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she die of?
Hello? Shock. I don't know. She's just a bit knackered. She's not dead. She just dozed off.
Fell asleep. It's very blue, isn't it? This bit, so the lighting's really good. It's not. They said it goes from dark to like some lights. You know what I mean, so it's not a dark filament. The light. It's pretty nice.
I feel like because it's such a nice transfer, that blue looks gorgeous. I think it looks really nice. I feel like that on the original cut might have been too dark.
Oh, and there's Bruce Campbell helping him up. Oh, that's a baby. God, I think the first time I seen it, I think I rented it from the old video shop. If I remember right.
Big yellow sticker, one to watch.
2 nights, £2.
50 pence if you don't. 50 pence charge if you don't.
No, that's a dog, yeah.
Where's the dog?
I remember if you guys.
He's just got up the ladders now.
Who?
She's just gone into a hole.
I've got
Stallone's just...
Stallone just getting to the top now.
Yeah.
Turned around.
And there's the dog. Woof woof.
Yeah, I'm 2 seconds ahead. I'll give it a pause, like, I'll give it a pause.
Eject the dog.
There's no one to go and grab it, though.
He's thinking about it.
Yo, just a pretty dog, bro.
Oh, the Ivan Drago. Oh, there he goes for it. There he's going for it now.
Excellent.
I've just remembered that one, and it's just it's the worst tagline because it's so incorrect. But Alien vs Predator. Do any of us remember it?
Oh, whoever wins, we die.
Yeah. No. Whoever wins, we lose, and we fucking won.
Sleep all day, party all night. It's fun to be a vampire. Never live forever, whatever the bit in the middle is there. But yeah, that's a good one.
See, this is a list of bad ones, but I don't think it's a bad one here. I mean, I didn't see it. The Yogi Bear film. And that tagline, and I think that's an alright tagline. Great things come in bears.
Instead of pears. You know what?
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad film. Dan Aykroyd did the fight, and so did Justin Timberlake as Boo Boo. It wasn't a bad film, actually. No one on mean Rachel's.
Is Benjamin Bratt not the sheriff?
The Ranger.
When we were talking about what else he's been in, Carl, from Demolition Man.
I think it is. I'm sure I saw a connection there before when I was looking through them.
Just another rich bear, Boo Boo. Every time I do impression of costume, by the way, forgot to mention that.
Okay, Yogi.
No, just a Ranger Smith.
I think we might have mentioned that, Paul, actually, in the Running Man podcast we did earlier on, which you can find on Lonely Tree's page on YouTube.
I'm not fucking paying you for that one. That's actually that is uploading right now in the background as we speak. But you can.
It'll come through to a YouTube page near you. But no, I think we did mention, Paul, that we were saying. Obviously, we missed the what's that? I'm drawing a blank. The impressions that you do.
Right.
So, yeah.
I do too.
I know, especially on that, we would have had loads of like Schwarzenegger impressions all the way through Running Man.
Yeah.
I haven't done one of Stallone yet. Still working on it. Not one of Stallone. You know, just go. You know what I mean?
No, don't know how to use the fish seashells. Mm-hmm.
You attempted.
Yeah, how you can get it and keep it fun. That's how winning is done. Just
It's like the Goonies. This. Hey, you! It's the end of the Goonies, isn't it? It caves down and leaves Sloth in there just to be discovered. Again, you probably would find that this set here is like, obviously they've probably had a big pool, got this set, and maybe it's the car set in before, in the same tank.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think they spent in the water? They'd get all wrinkly fingers, wouldn't they? Do you
I'd be more worried about the feet, Paul, because obviously, unfortunately, that's how you develop trench foot, which was found historically when during World War II. No, just like World War One, actually. Basically, when your fingers wrinkle, that's the first stage of your fingers would fall apart. Literally, if you stayed in water like long enough, it would just start to fall apart. Yeah, well, that just happened, didn't it?
I mean, going back here, it's kind of like the big epic endings coming. Do you know what I mean? How they're going to get out?
Well, listen, it's very. I don't want to say it's a strange paced film, but there's a lot going on, but when you kind of cut it up into actually what happened during the film, it doesn't feel like a lot.
Oh, for a 2-hour film, no. I mean, it's like, I mean, so look.
It's clean cut. He's not in there. He gets in there. He finds everybody. You get like 2 or 3 major like things happen that either kill off people or fuck up the plan, and then you get to the stage. If you it's clean cut.
Well, the thing is, there's no antagonist as well. There's no bad guy. There's no final. There's no conflict.
The tunnel's a
Yeah,
bad guy.
sorry, I cut you off there. I wanted to say that was one of the things I found interesting in this like era now. We've got a film where there's no bad guy. It just happens. You know, it's just bad luck. You know, or, it's just, that's weird.
Guys up to the bit where they get rescued now.
Yeah, they've just been rescued.
Yeah, the whole just being created to get them out.
Yeah, just happens to be 2 people walking home at the time to hear them. But can I just say, talk about House of Wax before with Mason, the bit where they put the fingers up.
Oh, he snips it.
House of Wax.
Aye, House of Wax is definitely on the cards. Like, I've got it sitting ready.
Got Paris Hilton in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shit you not. The guy from fucking, the bad guy from House of Wax is probably who I'm getting confused with about that guy.
You reckon?
House of Wax. So Carl, search for Brian Van Hoyt.
Damn.
Ryan.
Or just type in House of Wax.
I've got Van Holt.
That's him. That'll do. It's the same guy.
To everyone that's alright.
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
No getting rabies shots.
Here's a dog. Saved.
Said. So yeah, that is what begin, isn't it? Like injections for, for infections and rabies and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you swimming with rats and all sorts.
Rats and poos.
He was in SWAT as well, Mason, which I kind of feel like could have gotten a sequel. It wasn't.
It did have a sequel.
SWAT.
Aye.
What? Sam Jack and Carl
Aye.
Bell? Well, did they come back? I never heard of it.
Hang on. SWAT.
Was it not? I don't think it had one, did it?
Yes.
Straight DVD?
SWAT Under Siege 2017 and SWAT Firefight 2011. It's got 3 actually.
Is it just straight DVD with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody came back for it, did they?
No. Robert Patrickson's. So SWAT Firefight has Robert Patrick in, who's not even on the front cover but name checked.
Isn't he in X-Files?
He is. He's really good in X-Files. Actually, he's really good in it. Cunts.
This looks really good on HD. Like the quality's pretty nice. Oh, he's doing it. He's doing the Predator. He's covered in mud.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I've been watching lately. I was watching one of me backups for when I don't want to watch something but I want like background noise. Is CSI Los Angeles. It's got Chris O'Donnell in, and it's got LL Cool J in. And watching that, and honestly, I feel like LL Cool J needs like another shot at being like kind of a main actor.
Wait, be honest with you, he's still doing that Los Angeles though. He's just kept on working for years though.
You say that though because I've just finished watching it, and funny enough, I went to look at it to see when they were doing the next series, and they reckon it's going to be cancelled. They literally the last season finished about 6-7 months ago, and I looked it up just to see when the next season was starting, and the first thing it came up saying LL Cool J mentioned apparently it's a bit unusual and he hadn't heard anything yet. Normally they'd be on the phone saying, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but he said nobody's heard anything, so they reckon it's going to get cancelled. So he might end up getting a couple of roles now that he's done that, because that sort of TV keeps you well busy.
You ever seen a film called Mindhunters with Christian Slater and Val Kilmer when he's called Todd? He goes by his real name.
Oh, really?
That's a really good film, that, you get to see it.
Do you know before when it says there's no bad guys in this, like antagonists, but obviously the bit there he's going, I'm going to put this in your heart or something like that in the mud. He's getting angry at the tunnel, so obviously it's
The tunnel's
him.
a bad guy.
Yeah, it's a bad guy.
Oh, I mean, there's no bad guy in Dante's Peak. Do you know what I mean? Except for like, you know, like an antagonist,
But
someone
I feel like
from.
with Dante's Peak, but I feel like with Dante's Peak, though, along with a lot of these other films that were mentioned earlier, these are natural disaster movie, whereas this is just like a shitload disaster film.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why it didn't really matter.
This-
I reckon they could have easily put like someone fucked up and they were stealing the chemicals or something.
The bit where they blow the thing up, yeah, and they do that backdraft kind of thing, and they kind of fly around in the water, yeah. Wasn't that all on wires and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was. You can probably tell. I mean, I think this bit's where the climax of the film. I don't think this is aged very well.
Yeah, there's a lot of digital thing, but obviously it was just on wires, wasn't it? It was just the hold the breath kind of thing, really, if I remember right.
Yeah, oh, it's totally wire shot. I mean, look at that, man. It's.
Oh, that's terrible. He doesn't look too bad, but she does.
That's a lovely miniature, though.
No.
That's a bit, that was a bit too cliffhanger, that.
I also heard that this is getting recalled because we're going to take out the two towers in the background.
Really?
No, when he came in.
Fucking hell, Paul. I would.
I half thought of myself as, I don't know, with the world that we live in, I'm sorry, but that's very believable.
That's what I'm saying, like, it's like, yeah.
But even that though, even that her in the water there, it's composited, and it's that even like the waves there, that doesn't look as good as it could be. There's something stale about the colour because we've had this really nice colour all the way through, and that just doesn't look right.
Maybe it's like, oh yeah.
It cheaped out at the end, but spent too much money.
Yeah, it's two different shots, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Yeah, you can see the line across the top and on the right there for a second. You can see the box it is. I mean, that's two people there because they already had the life rigs out. They just took them out.
It was doing so well.
That's where they spent all the money there because that's real.
Yeah. Classic New York skylines. Not a mad picture.
I don't need no doctors.
Fucking hell. The one movie where Stallone doesn't walk away either. Really selling it.
It's very hard to see him and go into an ambulance, isn't it? So like she'd be in the chair and he'll be behind her.
That's a sequel, that. Daylight 2, ambulance, stuck in it.
Well, it's like when you're watching Escape Plan, when you see him and Annie in the bed together, like not together, but like in side by side, and it was just like a weird, like kind of imagery of saying like we're old.
Again,
like,
going back to Escape Plan, Carl.
Being holiday.
This again, I bet Escape Plan was an idea for a sequel of this.
Yeah.
Doing a sequel. Back by popular.
He held on to it all that time.
And in near death.
Hold on, has anyone seen the dog?
Oh, the dog's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, all that cast is fine. They got the rabies shot and they're gone.
They're all lying up in a hotel now, getting plenty of food and drink, just celebrating the survival.
Do you think it's the same universe as Ghostbusters?
just in general, aye. There's Rick Moranis in the background.
That's what I was about to say.
I think we're all on that page there for a second.
I was very interested in mention something.
That's what I told you about podcasts. You're always looking at like the obscure stuff, and like because you're obviously waiting and watching for someone else to talk, and you're like, "Fucking hell, I didn't notice that ever before." Like Paul Ray, Ghostbusters 2, and the little guy. You're like, "Fucking hell."
What a great film. It's
That's an interesting credits as well.
Oh,
Not the traditional scroll up.
Yeah, literally. I mean, a lot of people like that normally. You know what I mean? It's in the contracts. It's how it's done. I mean, look at that. A song. Daylight, you know what I mean?
Song before anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite different. And normally it'd be a cast call, but again, it goes back to like, it's union and contracts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many?
You gotta get the Foley mixer in.
Oh, Paul's
Jim
remembered.
Ashwell.
Paul's remembered. It's not arrows, so what's this one, Paul, then?
I know, mate, I spent the past 5 minutes thinking of it. How many not drowned dogs would you give it?
How many
Out of 10?
how many not drowned dogs?
Not drowned dogs.
What, out of 10?
Yeah. How many not drowned dogs would you give it?
I would say, for me personally, a 5. I mean, it looks good. It's a sort of a disaster movie, in and out. You know, a few people killed. Nice score. It's not by far in Stallone's top 10, I don't think. If you're doing a top 10, it might scrape honourable mentions. I love the artwork, so again, middle of the border there. But again, it's just.
I kind of agree with what you just said there, so I think I have to go with 5 not drowned dogs. I mean, it's right down the middle.
5 non-drowned dogs, is
5.
that?
5. Yeah, I think I'd probably do the same. 5 not in the tunnel. Yeah, it's one of those things. They say you can. And what's 1 hour and 54 minutes? It doesn't seem like it. I mean,
That's a long film, man.
It feels like it doesn't feel like it's like 2 hours. It feels like an hour and a half for flat like.
But there wasn't even that much filler either. So you know, when you think about it, you're sitting there going, "Oh, could it be out like 15 minutes?" I feel like they've used the camera time well. So it's like that's just generally how long that film should be, sort of thing.
I would say it is. I would say 15 minutes too long. I think one of the problems is as well. You've got the build up, and then you've got the event that gets them locked in there. You get him down there, so you have them really big suspensefulls. Especially, I mean, the bit where he's stuck in the fans at the start wipes the floor with that ending and them trying to get out.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously you've got some very bleak endings. But then you know what I mean. You've got that. Oh, they've left him. Obviously, it caters to the audience with no drowned dogs. And then obviously that woman does die in there. I mean that's. But again, it's kind of like. I mean, they couldn't kill the dog, but again, that's weird because they killed the woman and not the dog. Do you know what I mean? So they didn't leave that guy. None of the family die. You really do think that guy's going to come back to his girlfriend because she's waiting, because she's a character on the outside as well. But not a lot happens. Do you know what I mean? There's
if he gets across. Yeah, if he gets across the. Well, that's the main thing that happened on it though. She got to where she wanted to go, wasn't she?
I mean, it was just on there as well about that. If they put on from the director of Fast and Furious fans, this would be in fucking second gear, the movie, because it's a medium pace. You know what I mean? But even like Rob Conan's new film, was it Hurricane Heist? That came. What was that? It was Sky movie. That because
Cinema at the same time.
Sky Cinema one,
I saw the trailer for that, but it felt like it was a kind of a straight to DVD kind of movie, but it looked alright, like.
But again, as we talked about in Running Man, he's been around for a long time, and he's a very smart guy and a very interesting guy if he ever does comedy tracks. So again, if Daylight was picked up by Arrow, especially with Rob doing a comedy track for Running Man. I could see him revisiting it, but again, a Universal. You looked at. I mean, they again spent a lot of money because you can't think of Daylight and Waterworld made within a year of each other, and Universal not doing. Because we didn't have the internet then, so they did TV specials. You know what I mean, like these promo stuffs on TVs and stuff. But to get a Blu-ray that's got fuck all on, it's a bit of a shame actually.
Yeah.
So
I'm not pulling the VHS to have a look to see if it's got any extras on there.
Well, I've just watched a new. It's Universal, so it's obviously the old-fashioned. We've got probably taken over by Comcast.
I've got the.
See Universal Home Video. Yeah. All right now. Yeah.
It's a Universal 12 still.
Yes. Yeah. 13 in the state, but don't have 12 of the video. It's a weird thing from there. So see this in America. That's what's weird. No, it's a film. It's good. But he said too long.
There's a phone number for TKX. 1-800-PHONE-THANKS. You can phone them.
Oh yeah, it's paychecks. Yeah, it's because if you didn't like it or somewhere, well, they can opt why? Because they were very big paycheck stuff.
So, what's our next one for a freeway?
Excuse me.
Hey. So I know me and you, Paul, we're going to try and do House of Wax. What did we say we were going to do, Carl?
Well, we only agreed on running, man. I don't think we got anything after that.
Well, we're on a bit of a Stallone mission, like, so.
We did mention. I think actually, didn't we mention something about? I think we did. Red. I don't think it was Stallone. No, I think we were talking about something else.
We all need to do the Predator. I mean, I've spoke to Jack about it. Jack is interested, but again, it's the later the better for Jack. Unfortunately, Paul, I know you're normally.
When you say the Predator, do you mean the 20?
The new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, I made that mistake. So you know what it is, though. Your reaction is my reaction, really. But I feel like that's what might make it a better podcast. I feel like the craziness of it. And the fact that I think most of us are going, and we've all seen it, so it won't be any shock, but I think we can literally say, like almost like what our opinion is, the most ridiculous parts of it is,
I would
what
watch
really
it
didn't
again.
work.
Yeah. I think because I heard so much bad things about it, I expected bad things, but if I watch it again, I may notice a little bit more. Oh my god, available on video cassette and laserdisc. Awesome. Yeah.
Well,
a trailer from the Big in Time.
Well, Waterworld's probably our next big project, but I'm going to make sure you guys have both got the cut we need. Because did you win it on eBay?
That, by the way.
Did you get it?
No, it hasn't finished yet. Since I spoke to you, it's gone up £6, so it's now £36. So I reckon if I swoop in with a £40 bid, I may end up getting it. But I think it's tomorrow afternoon. But I do have a. But you do, you dick. But no, I do have a friend who has it. So if you want to do it any earlier and I don't get it, I can still do it.
It's Paul. It's Paul I'm worried about.
I'm lucky.
You just buy the wrong one though.
Mate, so I'm going to snipe you and not pay for it.
Who's going to win in there? Who's going to win in that scenario, Paul? You're just sabotaging.
That's why he's having problems with his PayPal. He's sniped too many people.
I watched it a few weeks ago because obviously I've been wanting to watch it for ages and obviously I watched it a certain way, but it's the only way I could watch it.
Oh, fucking hell, you've already got it, haven't you? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's how I watched it.
Yeah, so I think we can all prepare to do that one next. If you
Well, I would say we'll have a. I'm just having to try and quick think because Waterworld's just going to depend on what shifts I get at work, really. Because it's a 3 hour and I don't think I could. It just depends planning ahead. So, what else is everyone's favourite as we make this commentary even longer? Well, Paul Ray fucking hits.
I don't know, like I say, we've got Commando, I said that's a classic.
I need to buy that on Blu-ray. The thing is, that's got a comedy track. I'm looking for something that doesn't have commentary.
Well, come on, mate, you've got to put these things out there. There's a lot of films, and you just want to put in that little detail now.
Haha.
You should do Mason, just not watch it for commentary and then down, sort of, this bash.
What about, just because it's coming out next year, and I feel like I'll be very indifferent with this, but what if we did the Matrix trilogy?
I would do the first one. I am not watching Matrix 3 ever again, like.
I love Matrix 3.
Okay, so we're not going to be that indifferent then, because I hate Matrix 3, but I feel like it's
Oh.
something that a revisit could benefit.
RoboCop.
Could do RoboCop. I've got the first one. I need to get the others, but the first one.
You come with me, creep. Yeah, I've got your questions ready.
I'll tell you how Peter Weller's not a very nice man. He probably is a really nice man, but
He wasn't the call.
He's getting cranky. He's cranky in his old days, and he was going to charge me £5 to sign another piece of paper for an authenticity. And I was like, no thanks, I've just seen you do it. I'm happy.
You are real.
Robocop. Robocop films. Maybe all three of them or something like that. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not all three. I mean, the third one. Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
I think I'd rather watch a TV series than watch the third
I was just looking for a filler between Waterworld as a backup, so you guys have got a plan.
Fine.
That or Speed.
Let's call it.
Right, okay. Right, so okay, I've been Stephen Monkey Mason. I have been privileged to be joined by Paul Ray, the Meter Man, who always comes up with our ratings now as well. So he's probably going to get a bit lazy. He'll probably come up with RoboCop and fucking 5 Dead Creeps and stuff like that for his review of that. But you know,
I'm thinking RoboCop.
That's actually quite a good one, actually.
And
I'm thinking about RoboCop.
how many Ed 209s? And we've also had the historian himself, Lubo Carl, who always gives us a bit of history.
Always a pleasure.
But again, any comments, drop them in the line. Please don't be so nasty. I mean, come on. Remember, if you drop a comment, it's going to be there because comments are traffic. So if you're going to be a dick, at least be a bit more nicer dick and a bit quick-witty. But thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.